Welcome to the Elite Power Moves podcast, where we unlock the secrets to level up in all areas of life. I'll be interviewing some of the world's top performers in their fields so that you can uncover and learn the strategies that have led to their overall success and apply it to your own life. Jim, mindset plays a crucial role in leadership. How do you coach executives to develop a growth mindset that helps them thrive in the high pressure environments?
Well, growth mindsets are really interesting from Carol Dweck's research many, many years ago, which was about children. And a lot of parents have used that, as you would know, as a real transformational way of having dialogue. You know, the kid that comes home with a great piece of art and the parent gushes, which is a good thing, and says, that's fantastic, but they don't talk about growth. Well, how would you do that differently? What did you learn? Why did you choose those materials? And so that's how that started, but for me, and the application of that is obvious for adults, because it's based on the belief that intelligence, abilities, and talents are not fixed at all, but they can be developed through effort, where people view their challenges as opportunities and see failures. What a great way to learn something, and they actually believe that their efforts lead to progress and success. And I think also, Michael, the people that I've worked with that survive in those high pressure environments are really incredibly self-actualized, deeply self-aware. They understand profoundly what their values are, what their primary motives are. They seem to me, and I'm sure this is true for you, have a real sense of purpose, and they get their strengths and limitations, but critically they're accountable for them, which is a really important part of this. It's all very well to know that, but it's your stuff to fix and resolve. And then I'd probably add a couple of other things. They're all very emotionally intelligent, the best,
yeah.
And they very, very solution-oriented, high integrity. And the little last one I'd throw in is that they're vulnerable and have no shame about being vulnerable. And it's really engaging for those around them.
It's a really good point you brought up about our childhood, because that's when we build our resilience. And I think always like saying congratulations on your effort to kids is always the best thing you can do, because that makes them want to put in more effort. So that's an awesome point. Jim, high achievers are often expected to operate at peak performance consistently. What strategies do you recommend for maintaining mental and physical energy, especially when it comes to balancing demanding leadership schedules?
Well, so a couple of things. I think it's too much to expect high performers to operate at peak performance all the time. And you're the expert on this, Michael. You know, there's this issue about being able to oscillate and recover, which is all very athletic, but it's absolutely true of leaders as well. And where do you take that pause so that you can recover and come back for more? So the very best know that really, really well, and they're able to detach and relax. They're pretty good on things, really basic stuff like diet, getting moving. I'm talking about your domain here, Michael. That cherishing sleep, keeping connected, being aware of what's happening around them, and that really critical thing about recovery. One of the big things that I always talk to our leaders about is don't have back-to-back things. Don't have back-to-back meetings. And you look at diaries and they're just jammed with events. There's no chance for oscillation and recovery, and they just slam from one to the other. The high performers don't do that. You look at their diaries and there's gaps between. And it's not just gap around task, it's a gap around feeling good, feeling emotionally well and ready for the next event. So these are really simple human things, and the very best leaders I know, they have these as habits in their daily life.
Jim, that's a really important point. And what I like to do with my high achievers is it's really proven, scientifically proven, if you take 6 minutes of going for a walk in between every 60 minutes of work, it increases your productivity by 60%. And it's also understanding that you can be in dramatic stress and have a million things going on at the moment, but you can get up and defrag from it really quickly. And I think that's what high achievers do really well.
Yep, absolutely right. Yeah.
Jim, as a leader, how important is self-awareness in driving performance, and how can we use techniques to help executives build awareness around their decision-making and leadership styles?
Well, it's fundamental. It's the core. I can't ever remember working with a leader or doing a leadership program where we don't start with issues around self-awareness, because it flows into self-efficacy and self-actualizing. So it's foundational. I don't know how you can lead effectively if you don't know yourself well. You know, what's your purpose in life? What do you value? What's important to you? And I think, Michael, when you do that, and you're leading, your ability to do what I think are the two most critical things, that is, give abundant clarity to others, because this is the entry point to high engagement. You know, you can imagine, I'm not clear on my role, I'm not clear where the organisation's going. Come with me. Well, people just won't do it. And the other thing is coaching, which is your domain yet again. So not only am I going to give you clarity, I'm going to be with you arm in arm, coaching you. So building awareness is the entry point to all of that. So we would spend a lot of time on that issue, and that's in whether I'm one-on-one coaching or doing it in groups. It's foundational.
It definitely is. I think if you're not self-aware, like you're never going to be you're not going to have the productivity that you want. You've got to be really aware of your energy levels, because sometimes you're
Yep.
just not going to turn up and feel it that day. And you've got to know how to
Yeah.
structure your calendar around the more moving the needle tasks. So that's really
Yeah.
good information.
And no, I'd add to, and it's okay to say that too. I often say this to leaders: if you're feeling flat and tired, just tell people you're feeling flat and tired, and then manage it. And people will come alongside you and support you. That's that vulnerability thing. We're not always high energy every minute of the day. It doesn't work like that, does it?
Yeah.
So, you know, being open about it, I think, is also really helpful.
I think that links back to our last question about productivity, because we're expected to run at peak performance 24/7, and it's literally impossible. It's like revving a Ferrari all the time. Eventually the system's going to blow up. And we see this leading to inconsistent work performance, poor cognitive ability. Then it leads into digestive health, and it starts to affect the liver, and then it starts to affect sleep, and then it's a vicious cycle. And I think it's super important for leadership coaches and performance coaches to really make men understand that stopping and having a rest is the best thing you can do, especially during the day, having those little micro rests so you can recharge and step back to that major moving the needle task.
Yeah, and there's that great, you will have seen it, that great Microsoft study on exactly that phenomenon, about the massive impact of short breaks
Yeah,
on energy, focus, on wellness. And you're right, they're microcosmic, they're 5-6 minute things.
yeah,
But people just go on, they just keep going, don't they? They plow on
yeah.
and on and on. Just stop.
Yeah, it really is something that, like you said before, if someone's got their calendar jammed back to back, and I see so many
Yeah,
busy executives and CEOs doing this, they have no time to action and process what's going on in their subconscious, and then it leads into their family free time, because they're switched on to work, and then they go home and they're not fully connected with their loved ones, so that
yeah,
leads into
yeah,
unfulfillment. So
yeah,
balancing your
yeah.
day and setting more small breaks is going to help you to turn up to be the best leader, the best husband, and best father.
Yeah, and busyness shouldn't be seen as a badge of honour, and it often is.
Yeah,
Look how important I am. I'm so busy. Look at my calendar, and I think, no, you know,
yeah,
you're missing out here, all for all the reasons you just said.
yeah. I think, Jim, to be honest, the words "I'm busy and I don't have time" actually water our subconscious. It's like Think and Grow Rich. If we want something and we envision and we say it, then it
Yeah,
becomes our reality. And if we say "I'm too busy," this means that we're actually not available, and not available for anyone else, and not available for ourselves. And if we say
correct.
we have no time, this is telling our subconscious we're not present, we're not here right
Yeah,
now.
yep,
If we're doing anything in life, it's right now, it's in this moment.
yeah,
If
yeah,
we're thinking about the past, it's in the now. And if we're envisioning our future, it's in the now.
yeah. The Buddhists got it right, Michael.
Yeah. Jim, what role does mindset play in navigating challenges such as conflict or stress in leadership? And how can leaders maintain clarity and focus when facing obstacles?
Well, I particularly want to talk about conflict, because I think it's a really high end element of stress. And of course, conflict is obvious in organisational life and in personal life. And so I think the mindset issue is built around some really simple questions that help enormously deal with things like conflict and the stressors that arise from it. And the first one would be incredibly clear on what you want. It really staggers me that people get into conflict and they never thought about the outcome they want. So they just get into this rambling dialogue, headbutting dialogue without any outcome. So that's the first one. The second one, I think, is if you can't find mutuality, your chances, this is a mindset question, your chances of resolving anything are very low. And sometimes you have to go meta to that. You know, what's best for the organisation, what's best for the community. So you've got a common playground, if you like. And then there's, I think, a really important mindset thing, and that is to differentiate between facts and beliefs. And facts will make a difficult conversation a lot better. So, for instance, person routinely late for meetings, a belief would be you're lazy, you're not committed. The fact is they're just late for meetings. It's a piece of information. What's actually going on here? So deal with the data. And they're all things that sit in your mind and make those conversations easier. And they're less stressful.
Yeah. I think it's the way we see the world too, Jim. Like I find that like the 7 and 9 figure CEOs that I work with are people that are always seeing the possibility and always looking at gratitude in everything they do. And they're always open-minded. You know, if someone was rocking up late to a meeting, they might say, well, this guy might need a little bit more time to process what's going on so he can turn up to really rock that meeting and rock that stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And take into account that it's okay that he rocks up that little bit late because he's getting prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or reflective learners who aren't as visible in the present, who just want time to think about issues. And the bad leader will say, come on, speak up. You're not contributing. And they're contributing constantly in their head. They just need time. Give them the time.
I think a good CEO, like having a team of 20 and like 2.5 companies personally, sometimes I see myself almost being like a psychiatrist to my staff, like asking them questions of how they're feeling, how their clarity is going, and really delving into, you know, their energy levels and where they're at, because this really helps you to position them in the right position for whatever tasks they're coming up. Um, Jim, you've coached many high achievers on sustainable performance over time. What mindset shifts do you find most impactful for leaders who want to achieve long-term success without burnout?
I reckon there's a number of things. One, and we've talked about some of them, but I'll just reiterate them. If you're not self-actualized, your chance of sustaining anything over the long term is really challenging. And sitting underneath self-actualizing, as you know, is awareness and accountability for it. I'd say the second thing is that if you haven't got active processes of recovery as it relates to isolation, you're going to get into this whirlwind of busyness and stress. And as I said before, busyness is not a badge of honour. I don't know about you, Michael, but I think human beings are designed to pulse, you know, to move rhythmically between work and rest. And energy enables, it literally enables our hearts to beat and our guts to digest food and our muscles to move and our brains to think. And it ebbs and flows. It's abundant and scarce, and it can be both. And it can be vitalizing or it can be all consuming. And sometimes we feel energized and content, and other times we don't. And so the awareness bit becomes, here am I right now? This is what's going on for me. What do I need to do? What do I need to put in place to shift this? And that's a really structured, thoughtful process. And you didn't say the term, but the high drive category, you just got to give yourself permission to be a human being. It's okay to rest and have downtime and to keep a close eye on whether you're going to the boundary too hard and fast, or whether you're headed for a burnout. And if in the low drive category, you've got a whole lot of different issues about getting out of the low level category and doing more than you would minimally do. But I think that's a question of, and you talk about it in some of your work about that fluctuating drive, is keeping an eye on both. Where am I now? Am I here or am I there? And so you don't fall below the low level, but you don't go so high that you burn out.
I think it's something that I really find fascinating. I personally like to systemize my calendar around what energy events I'm doing for the day. So if it's filming content or, doing podcasts like this, I've always put it in the same block. Or if it's meetings, I like to, put them in the same block. So you're sort of working in the same energy because it's proven science and mathematics that we're all energy as human beings. And if we can manage our energy properly and identify our peak performing times to work on those moving the needle tasks, then we're always going to be more fulfilled because we're going to feel like we're getting more
Yeah,
done. You know, I,
yeah. We all have our honey hours, don't we?
yeah,
We do. We have honey hours. I also say to people that when you look at your calendar for the day, don't just look at it as a series of events and activities. Look at it emotionally as well, and find those events or meetings or encounters that are going to be challenging and stressful, and let your emotional imagination become vivid so you could see what's coming ahead of you, and so you get yourself emotionally ready for it. And not for everything, but for the trigger events, it's just a great little technique to get settled and balanced and ready.
I think this leads into like opens up the door for what I've been really looking and studying the most. And it's where does someone that's super busy and feels like they're already overwhelmed, where do they add time into their day and where can they create more freedom? Because for some people, running a business is hard, but then you add in, also running the family and then also looking after your well-being, it becomes near impossible and overwhelming. So I like to brain dump everything that I'm going to do for next week on a piece of paper and then systemize it into energy flows. Like what's moving the
Yep.
needle, what's more important, and I'm going to do them in my energy flow times. But the things that are smaller, you can also look at it and go, you know what? I don't need to do that task. I can delegate that
Yeah,
to one of my team, and
yeah,
I can free up more time to maybe book a round of golf, on a Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock and, have that fulfillment and freedom and get outside and do stuff you love. I think it's
yeah,
important that we live life like we're on a holiday every day. Like like you said, Jim, if you're working from purpose and you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. But
mm,
also, if you put little things into your day, like I'm going to go for a walk on the beach, I'm going to go have a round of golf on my calendar, then this is going to make you more fulfilled. Like you're doing the things you enjoy and love while being
yeah,
successful and thriving in your business.
yeah. And that description, I love that description, and that would be true of every successful leader I know. And it would be not true for those that struggle. And those that struggle, I describe them as really intense. Everything is intense, and it creates tension around them as well. So it has this limbic effect. So recently I had a CEO who's like that. He's a very effective leader, but he's full on. There's no break. And he took a month off, and his deputy came in who is a calm person, and the difference in the mood in the organisation was dramatic. But both had useful effects. But she was just saying, let's take breath, let's calm, let's not do everything at once. And it had an almost instantaneous effect on morale in the business.
Yeah. I think a good leader has to have a million things going on and live in this chaotic world
Yeah,
that they know
yeah,
that's there in their head, but they need to brain dump, systemize it, and put it into time blocks and schedule it, and then park it. Um,
yeah,
One of the leaders that I've been looking after, Mark Middleton, great guy, owns Icon in Queensland. He has 3,500 staff members. And one of the
yeah,
things he does is that I love is he picks up his son from school every day. But the
yeah,
most important thing that I've learned from Mark is he just switches off. Like it's 6 o'clock and it's switch off time. It's just family
yeah,
time and
yeah,
work can wait to the next day. And I think that's a really important trait for a leader to have.
yeah. I agree. You've got to have some structure around that. It's not just I will switch off. It's like you suggest, is really to define your day and your week and put it into those parcels and not run into this crazy back-to-back culture that we've got.
Yeah. Jim, in today's fast-paced world, how can leaders cultivate a peak performance mindset, not just with themselves, but also for their teams and their families as well?
Well, a couple of things I'd say. Wherever I see high energy within an organization, things seem to happen more easily. So it's a bit of a precursor to it, and it builds on a lot of the things we've talked about already. And I see what I call mutual stimulation, employees stimulating each other by continually giving that bit of extra effort, because the culture of the organization is one around energy and therefore engagement. And so the great organizations are really strong on physically resting, renewing, emotionally feeling genuinely cared for and valued, mentally being empowered to set boundaries, which is a point you were making earlier on, and focus on things in a really absorb way. And then you add that, of the four big energy sources, and spiritually is about meaning and purpose. So every organization I work with, I find that stuff all over the place, because I don't know, I think if there was a first and foremost job as a leader, it's one, take charge of your own energy and then help others orchestrate a similar level of energy. And I don't know whether you're hearing this, but I'm hearing people at all levels sending a clear message at the moment. And that is that if high performance is a sustainable goal, and you want to get more out of us, you better put something into us to do it, meet our core needs, give us the resources to be energetic and active, take better care of us, and we'll take better care of the business. And one of the sources of that, of course, is great relationships. So again, the organisation I work with that are very effective, they've got terrific interpersonal relationships, people they can trust and talk to and connect to. And connection, as you know, is a really big element of wellness. And the best value that really highly.
Thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you found the discussion useful. Our goal is to positively impact the well-being of 1 million people's lives just like you by sharing the experience and knowledge of some of the world's top performers. So you don't miss out on any key strategies to help you succeed, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. And if you think you may know someone that would benefit from this episode, join us in our mission of impacting 1 million lives and share it with your friends.